In a city where survival meant stealing, lying, or vanishing into the shadows, one starving alien girl made a choice no one expected. She could have disappeared with a diplomat's wallet, rich with enough credits to buy safety for months. Instead, she limped after him through the rain, whispering, "Sir, you dropped this." That moment, small and fragile, didn't just save her life. It altered the course of galactic diplomacy. And the man's response? It stunned everyone who heard the tale. If stories of honor, humanity, and unexpected bonds spark your imagination, you're in the right place. Go ahead, hit that like button, subscribe for more HFY stories, and share this video with someone who loves tales where simple choices carry galaxy-sized consequences. It helps more than you think, and keeps these stories alive for all of us. The rain had a way of turning the city into something alive. Neon lights fractured in the puddles, spilling colors across cracked stone and broken metal. For most, Lion Prime's capital was a marvel, sky bridges humming with traffic, towers glowing with interstellar wealth. But for Laura, crouched beneath a flickering sign, it was only a cruel reminder. She had once been a student of music. Her 4 delicate head frills had been painted with bright, ceremonial dyes that marked her as a daughter of a proud house. Now the colors were gone, washed away in years of hunger and grief. 2 years had passed since the syndicate raids ripped her family apart, leaving her with nothing but a thin cloak, a metal dish, and a hollow ache in her chest that food rarely filled. At 17, she was invisible. People didn't see her. They stepped around her as though she were part of the grime on the streets. She learned to keep her eyes lowered, to expect nothing but scraps. Tonight was no different. She huddled in her corner as rain thinned to mist, her stomach gnawing at her ribs. And then it happened. A tall figure hurried past, boots splashing through shallow water. His coat shimmered under the neon glow, trimmed with silver threads that screamed wealth. But as he passed her corner, something slipped loose, falling, tumbling, landing in the gutter with a soft splash. Laura blinked. A wallet. She reached for it with trembling fingers, her hands shaking not just from hunger, but from the possibility of what this meant. The weight of it surprised her. She cracked it open. Inside, credit chits gleamed like tiny suns, enough for months of food, even a pod on the lower docks where no one would bother her. Her breath caught. Then she saw it. Diplomatic insignia. Identity seals. This was no ordinary man. He was Elias Morrow, Earth's senior envoy to the Aryan Council. Her pulse raced. The choice was simple, wasn't it? Take the money, run, finally eat, finally sleep without fear. For a moment the thought burned bright in her mind. But then, unbidden, came her mother's voice, soft and fading in memory. "We are not thieves, Laura. Even in darkness we carry the light of our honor." Her throat tightened. She closed the wallet. And then, against every survival instinct she'd carved into herself on these streets, she rose. Her thin legs shook as she hurried after him. Sir, wait!" The man turned, startled. His eyes widened when he saw her, frail, drenched, holding the wallet in both hands like it weighed more than she did. "You dropped this," she said, voice hoarse from hunger. For a heartbeat, he only stared. In this city, things lost were never returned. Certainly not by children who looked like they hadn't eaten in days. He took the wallet, opened it, scanned its contents. Nothing missing. Slowly, his expression softened. "You brought this back to me?" Laura nodded. "It's yours." Elias studied her. His tone was almost incredulous. "Do you know what this is worth?" He held up a credit chit between 2 fingers. "Enough for a warm bed. Food. A way out of the rain." Her eyes flickered to the chit, hunger burning in them. But she shook her head. "Not mine." Something shifted in him at that moment. Here was a girl with nothing, who still chose honor. And in his years of diplomacy, he had watched men betray entire worlds for far less. He crouched down, bringing himself to her level. His voice was gentle now. "Lara, do you have anywhere to go?" She hesitated. Then she shook her head. The decision came to him like lightning. Reckless? Absolutely. But in his heart, he already knew the answer. Come with me. By morning, the whispers had begun. The Terran envoy had brought a street urchin into the embassy. A beggar. An alien girl. To some it was scandal. To others, a sign of weakness. Behind polished doors, rival diplomats muttered that Elias Morrow had gone soft, that his judgment was clouded by grief or worse, sentiment. But Elias ignored them. He enrolled Elra in the embassy's academy. Within weeks, tutors marveled at her sharp mind. She absorbed languages like dry ground drinking rain. She studied Terran script until her hand moved with elegance. When Elias gave her an old violin, she coaxed sound from it with a trembling grace that silenced entire rooms. Still, the city never forgot who she had been. One afternoon, leaving her lessons, she crossed the plaza in a patched cloak. A group of young nobles blocked her path. "Street rat," one sneered. "You don't belong among us." Another shoved her shoulder. Her heart hammered, but she held her ground. Before it could escalate, a shadow fell across them. Elias had arrived. His voice was calm, yet carried iron. "This girl," he said, placing a hand on Laura's shoulder, "is under my protection. More than that, she is proof that dignity and honor can survive the harshest streets. Can any of you say the same?" The nobles faltered, retreating under his gaze. And for the first time, Laura felt not shame but pride. Years passed, and the girl from the rain grew into a poised young woman. Her frills were once again painted with the bright hues of her people. No longer hidden in rags, she now walked beside Elias into the council chamber itself. At first, diplomats scoffed. A former beggar at the negotiation table? A foundling raised by charity? But when Elra translated alien dialects with flawless precision, when she drafted treaties with clarity and fairness, the sneers began to falter. Her presence shifted something in the room. Elias had once been a lone voice for peace, mocked as idealistic. Now at his side stood living proof that compassion was not weakness, that honor could be a stronger foundation than power. One pivotal night, the council chamber roared with argument. A border conflict threatened to ignite into war. Alliances frayed, voices rose, accusations flew. Claire, calm but firm, stepped forward. She spoke not as a diplomat's ward, but as one who had lived the streets these rulers ignored. She reminded them that every treaty signed was not ink on paper, but food in a child's hands, safety in a family's shelter, a chance for someone like her not to be forgotten. Her words cut sharper than any weapon. Silence followed. In that silence, a shift occurred. Even her harshest critics could not deny the truth glowing in her eyes. Afterward, on the embassy balcony, Elias stood beneath the stars. The weight of years pressed on him. Lara joined quietly, the city lights reflecting in her gaze. "You changed everything," she whispered. He shook his head. "No, Lara. You did, when you chose to return something that wasn't yours. That single choice brought us both here." Her throat tightened. "If I hadn't, the galaxy would have lost one of its brightest lights." They stood together in silence, looking out at the vastness beyond Lion Prime, beyond wars, beyond loss. Across the galaxy, stories spread of the orphan girl who became a diplomat, not because of wealth, not because of power, but because one night in the rain, she chose honor. Her story traveled further than treaties, further than council halls. On distant colonies, children whispered of the alien girl who proved that honesty mattered. Soldiers told it in mess halls as proof that honor still had a place in a fractured galaxy. And for humanity, it became something more. Elias had shown that compassion could rewrite destinies, and Laura had shown that even in the darkest corners, light could endure. In the end, the story of a lost wallet was not about credits or protocol. It was about choice, the kind of choice that defines us. And in that, humanity proved once again why it thrives among the stars, not for power, but for the power of its heart.